Ladies and gentlemen, I am so honored and privileged to have Jeremy Vest with us today. Jeremy is not only one of the leading YouTube experts in the world, he's a thumbnail specialist. He speaks all around the world. Jeremy has worked one-on-one with me to help my YouTube channel explode. I've learned from Jeremy for many years, seen him uh, speak all around the world. He was one of the original team members at vidIQ, and just a wealth of knowledge. So as we have rolled out long form video creation within Faceless for syllabi, we're also working on thumbnail creation right in syllabi as well. And I thought, what better way than to kick off what we're doing with our launching our long form faceless video creation tool. In October, we're starting the 30-day long form faceless video challenge. Thumbnails are such a key, important aspect of this. And I brought in the best thumbnail expert in the world to train you guys, review your existing thumbnails. This is going to be so much fun. Jeremy Vest is a seasoned YouTube consultant of 16 plus years, has left an indelible mark on the YouTube strategy landscape. His students boast an impressive 50 billion plus organic views. That's 50 billion with a B. A collaborator with giants, Jeremy's expertise has shaped strategy for numerous leading brands and creators. Many in the industry refer to him as the YouTube coach's coach, as he has mentored and coached many of the industry's thought leaders, myself included in that. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming today, brother. The floor is yours.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. No pressure with that introduction. Go ahead and share my screen real quick. So you can see a link in the chat. I have everything I'm showing you today is free. I created a book for you guys on thumbnails, and also am giving you my thumbnail grader, which is basically all 12 of my rules. And it's pretty cool. I'm gonna share with you some of the thumbnails you shared with me in the group earlier. We're gonna do some live audits. And yeah, so if you want access to the tools and the free guide I created, feel free to just fill out this form and you can get them instantaneously. So thumbnails are actually very difficult, and they're not necessarily graphic design. Some of the people that I work with that are professional graphic designers are actually some of the hardest people I work with, because graphic designers want things pretty. And a lot of them went to college and they take design serious. But when something's the size of a postage stamp, there's different rules than just needing something to be pretty. So I'm going to go over my 10, I would say, secrets or rules, or 12 rather, to make sure that you're understanding all of this. Before we get going, I want to show you these rules in practice. So I'm going to use my thumbnail grader real quick, and I'm going to grade one of your thumbnails. Let's see. Here we go. And what's interesting is I make my students put in their website address so it can have more clarity for your thumbnails. I just put in no website because I don't have that right now. So these are the 12 rules on the left-hand side. And what's really interesting is I honestly believed that, even maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I believed that my 16 years of experience was going to be hard to duplicate with AI. But what I'm learning is you can actually put in all of your knowledge, and this grade is better than what I would have given you. Like if you would have said, hey, Jeremy, what's the grade of my thumbnail I would have given you very good advice, but I would not have given it this detailed and this good. So the first of these 12 rules, looking at this thumbnail, is does this give you a reason to click? And you get a 85 out of 100, which is a good. But what's really interesting about these rules is AI is able to look at the picture and make really critical thinking observations and say the dramatic scene and bold text are attention grabbing. So it's really detailed the way this works. So if you get nothing else out of this next hour, just know, use this thumbnail grader every time you make a thumbnail and you're going to be doing a lot better, I promise you. Does the thumbnail stand out compared to others? When you're on YouTube, on the right-hand side rail is called suggested videos. That's about 70% of where views come from on YouTube. Not necessarily talking about YouTube Shorts, not that experience on mobile, but other than YouTube Shorts, 70% of the time, you're going to click on a video. When you're watching a video, you're going to click on a next video. So suggested videos are really, really important. Does it show a curiosity gap? A curiosity gap is really important. We're going to get deep into that. Does it have 3 main focal points or less? Does it evoke emotions? Does it use color theory and pop? Does it show scale? So this has a 86 out of 100. It gives you very concise criticism and suggested improvements. It also gives you more suggested overall improvements down here. And then if you're into Midjourney or another AI tool, it actually creates the perfect thumbnail prompt as well. So if you want to take all the advice of this thumbnail grader, you can actually use this in a Midjourney type program to make the perfect thumbnail prompt, which I think is pretty cool. Eventually, my tool will also create the thumbnail, for you. We're just not there yet. So let's go down and break all of this down. Just so you know, in this document, you get the thumbnail tool. We also do YouTube coaching, and there's $1,000 off there. You can become an affiliate. Our affiliates make $1,000 per sale, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. So we already talked about this a little bit, but why are thumbnails important? Thumbnails are the billboard. And if you don't win the war of attention, you're not going to get views for the most part. So thumbnails are critically important. A lot of people don't understand that thumbnails are not actually the reason people click on a video most of the time. Thumbnails are a stop sign. So what happens is you stop scrolling when you see something interesting, and then you read the title. So don't think of thumbnails as the reason someone's going to watch your video. Thumbnail gets people to read the title so that they know they're in the right place, and then they click. I also have a little bit of history of thumbnails. We don't have to get into that right now. How to enable your thumbnails. If you do not have your custom thumbnails enabled, I'm showing you how to do that as well. And we're going to get into the 12 secrets. The first secret is, does it give you a reason to click? So one thing's really interesting. A lot of newer creators and companies will try to tell the entire story in a thumbnail. And that's a very, very, very bad idea. And the reason that's a bad idea is you want the curiosity gap. You want a reason for people to go see the next thing. So if you don't have a reason to click on your thumbnail, people will probably not click on your thumbnails. And this is the right-hand side rail, the suggested video area. So in secret number 2, what you should always do when you're designing a thumbnail is you should go look at the key term or the topic that you're going after. Look at the most viewed videos on YouTube and ask yourself, would your thumbnail win the click in the war of attention over your competitors? And I give you an example. This is basically how to get more views on YouTube. And a lot of these are very black. So if I was creating a how to get more views on YouTube thumbnail, I would not do a black background. I would be opposite of what is currently happening. Now, having said that, I would use the new YouTube multivariant tool where you can test 3 thumbnails. I would test one like the ones they do, and then I would test 2 different other versions. After these 12 rules, I'm going to go through the 6 types of thumbnails I create, and you'll see the different types of thumbnails you should be testing. Secret 3, I really get into what a curiosity gap is. This video has about 600,000 views, I believe, maybe a little more than that. And really, in this particular case, the curiosity isn't that great. I wanted to show something not super exciting, right? Because some of us are just plumbers, and you can create very impactful thumbnails even if you're just a plumber, or even if what you do is not some sexy business. It can be simple and still very effective. So so first off, before I talk about the curiosity back, I want to talk about the fact that clickbait is actually not a bad thing. So many people are completely wrong about this. And think about this, even in like the 1800s, newspapers use the concept of clickbait. Like, this is not some new thing. This has always been a thing. Clickbait is very bad if you're lying, but a critical part of being a good creator, of winning the war of attention. So you need things, clickbait doesn't necessarily have to be what's interesting. It doesn't have to be telling the entire story. But if you're lying, then clickbait is bad. If you're falsifying information to just get clicks, then that is probably a bad thing for the world. But clickbait is a very good thing if you do it with morals. And why would you limit yourself saying, oh, I don't do clickbait? No, just go make phenomenal titles and thumbnails that are interesting enough to win the click. So the curiosity gap is basically the gap between what you see and what you know, or what you read and what you know. And that gap in between, if you don't create some type of mystery, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you show the entire thing, odds are people aren't going to click on that thumbnail, even if it's a good thumbnail. And the reason for that is they already know the story. So you really need to find intriguing ways to get people to click by not telling the entire story. Does it have 3 main focal points and good design principles? And one thing you have to remember is, in many cases, thumbnails are the size of a postage stamp. So if you have more than 3 visual things happening in a thumbnail, it's very unlikely that you're going to win the click. If you look at Mr. Beast or any of the best thumbnail designers in the world, you will notice a Z flow pattern of 3 or more elements. There might be a lot of elements in the thumbnail, but if you visually look at it, it's kind of 3 groups of things. So you have to keep your thumbnails simple. They can be complex, like I have here, but if you look at this, it's pretty much 3 things, and it's very simple. So you also have to win the click within like half a second, right? So if you have something too complex, it's going to be small, most likely. And if it's complex, people have to use their brain. And they don't want to do that a million times on a screen with a million videos. So keep things with design principles and keep the 3 main focal points in mind. Also, these 12 secrets are the 12 questions you should ask yourself when you're making a thumbnail. And they're the 12 points that I'm using in the AI tool, the thumbnail grader, So it's all pretty much the same thing. This document just really kind of breaks down each one of the 12 steps. Does it evoke emotions? I'm not talking about showing emotions. That's two different things. Evoking emotion and showing emotion are totally different. Evoking emotion is getting someone to have emotions for the thing they see. So in Secret 5, you definitely want, especially if it's something critical, you want to evoke whatever emotion you need to evoke, whether that's fear or anger or happiness or sadness. The overall theme of your thumbnail should bring that out. Even if you're teaching someone how to fix a running toilet, you can still evoke emotion. Does it pop over all the other videos in the right-hand side suggested video area? And does it use color theory? One thing a lot of people don't realize, red, green, and blue are primary colors. It is what pretty much every single kid's product is made out of. Like if you go to any, like a Walmart or a Target and look at the kids section, it's going to kind of look bubble gummy like this. And the reason is our brains primary colors are very much, they really pop out from everything around them. So red, green, and blue, if you look at Mr. Beast or any of the big creators' most popular videos, odds are they're going to have red, green, and blue. So using color theory and simplistic design, emotions, and all the things we've talked about to this point are really important. Now, what you shouldn't do is, if all the people in your industry use red, green, and blue, you shouldn't do that. Again, if you don't pop from the crowd, you're just going to be the crowd. But I would have a red, green, and blue version of your thumbnails in the 3 tests that you're going to upload to YouTube. Okay, scale is one of the most important aspects of a lot of thumbnails. So if you show how big something is or how small something is, let's say I caught the biggest fish of my life and I didn't show the size compared to me or my boat, then it's not going to be emotionally impactful, right? So you really need the scale of things to explain how big they are. 100 boys versus 100 girls, showing 100 boys and 100 girls is very emotionally impactful. And I mean, this video already has 221 million views in 2 years. So by showing scales of how big or small something is, I saw a video yesterday where it said Earth, and Earth was literally like a dot compared to the galaxies around it. And that's a beautiful thing, because it's like, oh, wow, we're really small compared to the universe. And subconsciously, we start thinking about the universe and how small Earth is compared to everyone else. And you can see, like, the psychology of thumbnails is very important and very complex. These 12 secrets or steps that you should consider when you're making a thumbnail, all of them together, are really important. So if you have a new product or service and you want to show visually the size or scale of something, consider doing this. It's very impactful. This is actually a thumbnail I created. I believe this is from Attack on Titan. I worked with a lot of customers in the past, but I wanted to show that emotions are very important. Not only are emotions important, but even non-people emotions, like in this case, anime, it's very important to show emotions. Now, that's not evoking emotions. Evoking emotions are completely different than showing emotions. So this text, I think, is really important to understand that 90% of communication is nonverbal. And if you're not psychologically helping to tell a story with all these different secrets, then you're probably not going to win the click. So eyes are the window to the soul. If you have a small face on your thumbnail, people aren't going to be able to see the emotions. And if people can't see the emotions in a little posted size stamp, face on your YouTube thumbnail, then people won't be able to subconsciously connect to that person. And because we know 90% of communication is nonverbal, think about how unbelievably important it is to be able to see expressions in the whites of the eyes, and if I'm smiling or being angry. It's really, really, really important. In fact, I would argue that it's one of the most important things. Now, yes, you don't have to put a face on a thumbnail, but it can still have a mood. It could still have some type of emotional impact. A dog can't be a cat. So you definitely need to make sure that the thumbnail is a true representation of the video. If you are making something on a thumbnail that does not show the spirit of what the video is about, people are going to click away, and they're probably never going to watch your videos again because they're going to feel duped. Before, like back in my day, when YouTube did not prioritize watch time as the biggest way to rank videos, people would just put like nude girls and stuff on thumbnails and get the click and then get millions of views. But now the way the YouTube testing system works is actually not even based on click-through rate, it's based on watch time. So when it's testing the 3 different types of thumbnails, and I'll get into that a little bit later, when it's testing the 3 types of thumbnails, it's based on how long do people watch this video after they click on this particular thumbnail. And that's very, very, very important. So make sure that although you're going to do these 12 steps, you're going to make a phenomenal thumbnail. It has to represent and be the truth of the video. This is my favorite thumbnail of all time. And it's a yellow box. A yellow box is literally, I'm a recovering graphic designer myself. It's literally my favorite thumbnail of all time. And the reason, you see a yellow box and then you see the title that this is not yellow. This is not clickbait. It is the truth, because what he's talking about is how your eyes interpret yellow. And there's a lot of science behind it. And it is the truth. And it is not a lie. So this video with a yellow box has 22 million views and probably another 100 million views in copycat videos. So the truth matters, but don't forget, this is not clickbait. Maybe it is clickbait, but it's ethical clickbait because it's actually the truth of how your eyes interpret colors. So you have to match the viewer's expectation. I wanted to also show you the opposite side of that. The ethical side of that is you still want to have that curiosity gap and you still want to have reasons for people to click. Okay. I ran a study when I was at vidIQ with 50,000 videos, and we definitely found that videos with less text get more views. And one of the biggest mistakes I see brands and creators making is trying to duplicate the title on the text of a thumbnail. And that's not how it works, because like I said earlier, the thumbnail is a stop sign for people to stop, look at the title, and make a decision if they're going to click. So never duplicate the text from the title to the thumbnail. And in my opinion, I would try not to have text if possible, but if you are going to have text less than 12 characters, because that's the data we found from these 50,000 videos. I do have in the thumbnail grader, we do grade the text and let you know how we feel about that. But a picture is worth 1,000 words. So visual storytelling for our human brains is so much more powerful than text. So don't limit yourself thinking you have to have text on your thumbnail. In this case, the WTF is far more powerful than the invasion Russia doesn't want you to know about. right? So much more powerful. If I tried to, put like Russia's hidden war or something in text, it would be probably, instead of 169,000 views in 4 hours, it would probably have been 10 views. So you have to make that curiosity gap, give people a reason to click, give people a reason to pause and read the title, use powerful colors like that red arrow, and limit your text. This is the way I tell my designers. If you don't limit your text, you're not using your imagination. Okay, we're good and on to 11. We're going to audit some of your channels here in a second, your thumbnails, but we're getting to 11, so I'm trying to blast past this as fast as possible. I'd love to get your questions ready for me. I think we'll have plenty of time to do that. And one of the parts of the AI tool I created is, does it feel like the brand? So I've worked with probably 20 of the top 100 brands in America on their YouTube channels, and a lot of them don't actually feel like that brand. Or have you ever been to a YouTube channel where you like the YouTube channel, you like the creator, but every time they make a thumbnail, it looks like a different brand. It looks like a different person. It looks like a different thing. That's one thing about like Mr. Beast and a lot of the bigger creators, is he always uses Mr. Beast's face because you know it's Mr. Beast and you like Mr. Beast. So you don't have to use a logo. You don't have to use brand colors, but your thumbnails should look like your content that should look like you or your brand. So you do have to have a way for people to psychologically connect to what you do. Because if every time you make a thumbnail, it's completely different, it's not going to work. Scooby-Doo, we all know at the end of the episode, someone's going to get a mask pulled off of them. And they're like, oh no, that guy was wearing a mask the whole time. It's so dumb if you think about it, if you analyze that show, but that's what we're used to. So having thumbnails that are similar to each other is not lazy, it's intelligent. A lot of people, especially designers, want to redesign every time they go create. And my thought is the person or the subject could change, but the thumbnail should not at all. And then number 12, is the idea of the thumbnail exciting? Does it show movement? And if it doesn't show excitement or movement, it might not win the click. The next section I'm going to go through really quickly, so I have plenty of time for you. That's why I'm here. Is the 6 types of thumbnails I create for all the channels I manage. I do manage some of the biggest channels in the world. So this is the actual, basically, philosophies of templates I use. So the first philosophy or template type I use is asking a question. Going back to psychology, asking a question makes you ask questions in your head. So, wow, is the Cybertruck really iconic? Like, you're thinking that in milliseconds before you click on it. It's like, there's no way. It's iconically ugly. No, I'm just kidding. But is it iconic? Why does my side hurt when I'm running? Even though it's not that much text, it's good use of text, because now I'm asking myself why my side hurts when I run. Especially if I, put in a question or something to YouTube. These questioning your viewers with thumbnails is a very powerful way to do things. Facts and stats are always good. Money and things that are important are always good. If you look at, all the political ads we're all getting these days, facts and stats. That is one of the easiest ways to win clicks. Comparing yourself to someone else or your product to something else has always been one of the biggest tried and true ways to get views on YouTube. Billions and billions of views happen all the time with this type of thumbnail, the before and after, the 5-minute crafts, if you will. But there's also just something simplistically interesting about this versus that. So I would always, almost every time I do a thumbnail, one of the three I test is a comparison video. We talked about emotions a lot, so I'm not going to get into that anymore. But emotions, the YouTuber face, as cheesy as they are, is still one of the fastest, easiest ways to win the click and get more views. Now, this is an underrated kind of, a lot of people kind of think like they see arrows or see like something zoomed in and they think it's cheesy, but this is definitely one of the most effective ways to show something. So focus, showing an arrow, having something big in your hand, pointing out a particular part of a scene is a huge way to get impact, the curiosity gap, to show, evoke emotion. It's very, very, very powerful. And then, like we talked about before, showing how big or small something is still one of the best and fastest ways to get views on YouTube. So those 6 types of thumbnails is what I would concentrate on. Sure, there's a million other types, but these are the big 6, and these are the ones that I would spend my energy on, at least to get started. This shows what I've been talking about. A lot of you may not have access to this yet. A lot of you do have access to this on YouTube. If you don't have access yet, you will eventually. And when you do get access to this tool, you basically can upload 3 versions of your thumbnail now on a long form video. And YouTube is going to determine, out of a set amount of time, let's 1 week or 2 weeks, it's going to decide what video is driving the most view time. One of the reasons I'm not talking about CTR or click-through rate is click-through rate doesn't matter that much. What's really important is how long you can drive viewership from your thumbnails. Now, the reason I think click-through rate's kind of a scam is, let's say you had 1 million views on a video. The question you have to ask yourself is, how did you get those views? So if you got those views from someone searching in how to fix a leaking toilet or a running toilet, if that's how some person in your video shows up and you show someone with a leaky toilet, your click-through rate's going to be like 20%. It's going to be phenomenal because you're matching the intent of the search word people are searching for. Okay, let's say YouTube is showing this leaky toilet video because it's got 5 million views, it's showing it to people that don't know who you are. Your click-through rate could be 1%. And the reason your click-through rate's so low is because YouTube is sharing it to people that don't even know who you are. Now, you want, in those 2 scenarios, you actually want the 1% click-through rate. You don't want the 20% click-through rate. And the reason for that is you want YouTube to show your video to more people than your only audience that you have. So click-through rate is so misunderstood. I really don't even teach it anymore because people aren't looking at the sources of traffic. Okay, so that is really the 12 steps, the 6 types of thumbnails I use. And what I would like to do now is go grade a few of your thumbnails that I downloaded. We'll get through that and then start asking your questions. We're hopefully going to have a few minutes to do that as well. So I already did this first one here, which is pretty cool. You have access to this tool, by the way. I'm just highlighting it so you can do this as well.
Isn't this awesome, by the way, everybody? I'm just sitting here learning too, taking notes. This is great, Jeremy.
Thank you. So I will say, without even the grade, I really like this thumbnail. It's got emotion, it's got, color, the black and white versus the other one. There's a lot of really good psychological reasons. There's a curiosity gap. So I would probably grade this like a 91 or 92. We'll see what myself graded it, because this is all my rules, right? um, but this is a really good, yeah, 88 is a very high number for this. And what's funny is one of the first things I asked myself is they should get rid of get Trump, because you can't see it, especially the size of a postage stamp. You can't see that. And what's really neat is this tool actually says that. It's like, consider removing or modifying get Trump. That was one of the first things I saw. So that's one beautiful thing about AI tools, is the more it learns about what we tell it to focus on, the better these tools are going to be. But does it give you a reason to click? Yes. Does it stand out? Yes. Does it show curiosity gap? Yes. Does it have three main points? There's probably a little too much going on here, but it's close. So anyways, phenomenal job on this thumbnail. Feel free to use this tool to get more of this data. We're going to keep on going. We can do a couple more, Austin, then I'll be ready for questions.
No problem. I'd love to see it just tear apart a thumbnail too. Like, will it give a really bad grade to a
It
awful
really
thumbnail?
will, yes. It will. It will absolutely tear apart a thumbnail.
Oh no, I bet you it would rip mine to shreds, Austin.
Yeah, there you go, Nicole.
So anyways, you guys have access to the tool. I don't have to keep doing this, but just wanted to show you these 12 rules aren't necessarily something you have to remember anymore. I would have these 12 rules when you're designing the thumbnail, or just, design a quick iteration and then put it through the tool and get feedback and do that. And remember, this tool also gives you the perfect prompt as well. If you even want to take this into Midjourney or another, Adobe Firefly or something, and if nothing else, just get inspiration for the way you're going to design your thumbnail. So 89, good job. I'm going to do one more real quick, and then we will move on to questions. I think this one may not do super great because it's not showing about mortgage, but we'll see. So yeah, 80, not a great score. Not a bad score either, but there's definitely room for improvement. Austin, I'll keep on working on my tool to make it even more mean. But yeah, that's really what I had.
No, this is awesome. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Just jam packed with valuable information. Uh, Everyone, we have a couple questions in here. Ask your questions while we have Jeremy here. I mean, this is like a free consulting call, y'all. Jeremy has an amazing program that you should consider if you want to take your YouTube game very seriously to the next level, and he charges hourly. Now is your chance to talk one-on-one with a YouTube expert. As you're writing through that, I'm going to start things off with a question. So Jeremy, particularly for the new A/B testing thumbnail feature, do you like to wait for the entire duration before you set a thumbnail, or do you ever? Or what are your thoughts on ending it early if there's like a clear early winner? What other factors are there involved with the initial YouTube push versus as it tapers off? When is a good indicator of when you should select the winner?
I think the most important critical aspect of like timing of a test is how many people are going through the test. So if you have 1 or 200 or less than 1,000 views, let that baby do its thing and don't touch it.
Hmm.
Some of my customers, like Grant Cardone, for example, get 1 million views in a day. And that is definitely enough data to understand everything easily. So it's about how much data goes in. It's not necessarily about the time. YouTube, 1 or 2 weeks is basically being conservative, but I have had tests in early because basically the test said, oh, we're good, we have enough data, without me ending it. So on big channels, it can be a day easily. With most channels, I would just let it do its thing, because it's basically just learning. But here's the trick to all of that. The trick is every time you learn and you have a winner, you start with that design for your next thumbnail. Then you're only using winners and winners and winners and winners every time you do it. And then your winners get better. And then your winners have winners. So that's the trick to this. It's not about your test. It's about how you improve every 1% every week. That's the whole trick to YouTube. How do you get better scripts? How do you do better thumbnails? How do you do better titles? How do you do better storytelling? How do you do better editing? And that is the trick. And that is why people like Austin Armstrong, who put out 10 billion pieces of content throughout his life, that's why they're going to crush every one of us. Because if you can stay consistent, learn 1% every week, and keep learning and doing better and doubling down on the wins that you have, you're going to probably become a millionaire. The difference between Austin Armstrong and most of the world is the tenaciousness and the constant learning.
Appreciate you, brother. Let me send through some of these questions for you. Great questions coming in, everybody. Keep them coming. So Denise, in regards to Secret 6, what about color branding if your branding is not red, green, or blue?
And you definitely don't have to brand your thumbnails, but for example, when I was doing Gillette's YouTube strategy like 10 years ago, we used the Gillette blue. And, as someone that used Gillette razors for a long time, so there's a lot of subconscious things happening in that, right? Like if you have a strong brand like H&R Block has green or whatever, I think if they didn't use green, people may subconsciously not even know it was H&R Block. So I wouldn't get too caught up on this, but I would definitely use your brand color when you can. And the scene of the video, may not always support red, green, and blue. You might have to do other colors, but use primary colors if your entire industry is not using them, use them.
Awesome. Richard Jones asks, do certain types of thumbnails work better for certain niches?
The short answer is absolutely. So for example, I helped run the largest skateboard YouTube channel for 4 years or so. And believe it or not, the person is not as important as the skateboard. The trick is more important than the person, and something crazy happening is more important than the person. So a lot of people get stuck. Should I show a face? Should I not show a face? And one of my rules there is if the thing is the hero of the story, show that. If the person's the hero, show that. So for example, if Marquise is showing off a tech thing, the tech itself, like the iPhone 16, is going to be bigger than his face every time. So you really need to show what the most important thing on the video is. That should be your biggest rule.
Fantastic. Have you ever designed a thumbnail which didn't meet the criteria but outperformed a lot of that?
Yeah, that's
Maybe
actually
some
why I showed the that's why I showed the yellow box, right? Because that, I mean, yes, I've definitely had videos that got way more than 22 million views, but that yellow box got 22 million views. This is a good reminder that these are rules. I mean, I have definitely seen fuzzy cat videos without a custom thumbnail get 100 million views. So, you know, these are rules. They have definitely helped, you know, drive billions of views for my students over the years, but crap can happen. So, you know, don't take things too serious. Instead, understand who your audience is and create content as much as you can. These rules do work, but there's always exceptions to the rules.
Casey asked, and so everybody that's raising your hand, just we're going to do this in an organized fashion here. So just post your question in either the Q&A area or in the webinar chat with everybody, and we will get to that as long as we have time. We have like 10 minutes here, as long as Jeremy's good. Casey asked, where can we see if we have access to the 3 thumbnails tester on YouTube? The A/B test
okay.
feature.
Yeah, when you're uploading a video, down basically in the custom thumbnail area where you would upload a video, you can click the 3 dots and see if it basically you would be able to upload 3 different thumbnails. If you don't have that, you don't have access yet.
Fair enough. What design tools do you recommend to create thumbnails?
I recommend Photoshop and Canva, but I also recommend what you have. You know, I also have a thumbnail generator and some other things that my students have access to. The world is changing. You know, AI is pretty amazing. So what I recommend today is going to change tomorrow. I promise you that. But right now, Canva and Photoshop are like the tried and true. I also create thumbnails with Midjourney and Adobe Firefly and a lot of other programs. But ultimately, you should make them with what you have using these design prints, these 12 secrets.
So Ali also asked here, how do these rules apply to a standard product review video like an iPhone 16 who everyone is competing for? You kind of talked about that a little bit if you want to elaborate more.
Yeah, I mean, these rules really apply to every industry, right? So if you really break them all down for, let's just say, specific to an iPhone, does it give you a reason to click? Does it stand out compared to competitors? Does it have a curiosity gap? So one thing I would do is I wouldn't do everything else. Seth Godin, who's a very smart marketer, says be the purple cow, stand out. So, he's breaking out a book.
Purple
Nice.
Cow. Book's a classic, y'all. Read it.
It's absolutely a classic. So if everyone's zigging right, zig left, you know, you gotta find your voice in thumbnails to win the click. So I would not duplicate a thumbnail a famous YouTuber does. I would kind of find my own way to do it and test as much as possible.
Angeline asks, I noticed the use of animated characters in thumbnails. Is there a benefit to make one of myself, or should I use my real face instead? Or using my real face, making it into a cartoon character? Is there a specific reason to use animated characters?
This goes back to Secret 9, I believe. Does it match the viewer's expectation, and does it tell the truth? If you're not animated on your video, don't put yourself animated on the thumbnail. A dog can't be a cat. It has to be consistently truthful. Animation works quite well on YouTube in general. It's a huge category of YouTube. And now that Sora and all these AI models are coming out, it's going to get crazy and really cool. But ultimately, no, I would not animate myself if my video was me. If the thing was animation, like I did the YouTube strategy for, it's now not called Funimation anymore, but at the time it was. And we helped get them to 3 million subscribers. And the way we did that is I showed that really big face with the eyes. You know, we just used a lot of emotion in anime characters.
This one. Jeremy, can you talk about your course and what it does for someone that does not have a YouTube monetized channel?
Sure. So my course is actually not a course at all. We go build businesses, mostly YouTube strategies, and we coach you asynchronously. So you ask us a question, we send you a video back, and we give you all the tools and tips, templates, and coaching you need to build a phenomenal YouTube channel. This is not for everyone. I'm a very kind of expensive niche person. Like, so my product is $497 US per month. So it's not for everyone, but we have a lot of results. You know, my students have over 50 billion organic views. And, you know, I helped Austin a little bit. You see his success. I'm not taking credit for his success, but I was a small part of that. And we're very effective. So although we're not for everyone, you know, we only work with a few hundred customers. We are ridiculously effective of what we do.
I'm gonna hype up Jeremy a little bit. So the reason I had a lot of success is um, I had gotten banned from TikTok one of the many times that I've been banned from TikTok, and I'm like, Jeremy, we got to figure out YouTube Shorts, man. Let's figure this out. And so Jeremy and I, every single day for like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks straight, we were doing different experiments and testing with each other. What types of videos were performing well? What titles? Studying other people's shorts that were performing well, not only in our own niche but in different niches. And that's what really came down to the epiphany that I had of not just pushing everything that I was doing on TikTok and Instagram over to YouTube Shorts, but hyper focusing on the like top 5 most useful website videos and doubling down on one really clear topic. And it's because of those one-on-one conversations and having that a coach like Jeremy in your pocket to hold you accountable and really do these tests that it resulted in my explosion. And if anyone's heard that story, it took me 3 years of posting over 600 videos to get to 5,000 subscribers. And then I went from 5,000 to 100,000 subscribers in 3 days. And I now have 600,000 subscribers because I learned from that and I just kept doing and doubling down and continuing to learn. And as Jeremy was saying, like following those trends. If you have a thumbnail that works, keep posting that thumbnail style. If you have a video that works, keep doing more and more of that style. And it's that 1% improvement over and over again. Jeremy, this has been absolutely fantastic. One thing I want to end with here for everybody while we still have everyone is the reason we brought Jeremy on here is because we just launched long form faceless video creation within Syllabi. We are now Syllabi is the only AI faceless video tool on the market that offers long form video in this style with AI generated imagery. And so how this quickly works here, I'll show you a quick example. And by the way, anybody that wants to sign up for Syllabi, we're doing an exclusive discount just for this webinar. It's YouTube 25. Jao, if you could post that in the URL. If you enter YouTube 25 on checkout. You can save 25% on the monthly plan for the first month, or 25% on an annual plan, which is the largest discount that we have available right now. And that code will expire at the end of today. So if you want to take action on this, make sure that you use that code. So within the faceless video tool here too, you can choose the video length. So you can do YouTube Shorts, or we can do 1 to 3, 3 to 5, or 5 to 10-minute long video scripts here. And you can literally type in anything like ancient Rome secrets, and it will generate that entire video script for you. Whoops. Uh-oh. Of course a bug goes wrong when I demo it. Hold on one sec. Okay. Ancient Rome secrets. Okay, this will generate a 1 to 3 minute long video script for us here. Boom, we have our entire video script. We can choose 20 different art styles, different subtitles, and we have a lot of different customizations coming out next week, like changing the font color, adding background music upon creation. You can add your own AI voice clone in here, and literally all you need to do is click on generate video, and that will generate in the background for you. This is what these videos look like. I just was generating, let's see, this one earlier, 3 days ago.
Have you ever wondered who was the best Roman emperor? The Roman Empire was one of the greatest empires in history, and it had many.
And it literally creates the entire video for you on any topic that you type in. And I want to quickly, I'll end on this and show you the performance of these so far. These videos have been absolutely crushing it on YouTube. My goal for October is we are starting a daily long form faceless challenge. I want to see how many of you that we can actually get monetized from using Syllabi videos. So we can see here in the content area, these are all of the long form videos. These are getting hundreds of views. This one did just about 12,000 views so far, entirely organic. Let's see, there was one other one that did a couple thousand views. Oh yeah, this one did about 4,000 views, 3,600 views. And these videos are absolutely crushing it. We're also working on our own thumbnail creation tool right in Syllabi as well. I had some of our team sit in on this meeting so that we can apply some of the best practices to that tool. And again, everybody, Syllabi is built by creators for creators. Aside from being the owner of Syllabi. Also, let me tell a quick story here with Jeremy, not to hold anybody. I originally told Jeremy, I was in a car with Jeremy at a conference about 2 years ago, explaining to Jeremy about the idea of what Syllabi was going to become. Before we had launched anything, before we had any development, we were in Dallas, Texas, and I was just sharing with the idea. I'm like, I think I can do a lot of what I do as a marketing agency, and we can automate this with software and artificial intelligence, and make this the steps from finding a content idea, writing a video script, creating the actual videos, scheduling and publishing them to all the channels. I think we can automate the entire process in software and make it 100 to 200 times cheaper than what my agency was charging. And it's conversations like that. So Jeremy's really been around since the origin stories of Syllabi when it originally popped into my head. And now we've, over the last 2 years, we've served over 60,000 customers, and it's been just a dream come true. But it's because that I am a content creator and I work with content creators, and we listen to all of your feedback in the Facebook group, in our Discord community, on the feedback section of the Syllabi website. That is something that you're not going to get from bigger tools like InVideo, because we are content creators. You see me in the weeds with you answering customer service questions. We care about your success. That is what sets Syllabi apart from some of these other tools out there. I just want to see you all succeed. That's why we give discounts. That's why we host these free webinars with experts like Jeremy every single week. I just want you guys to succeed. Social media marketing has changed my life, and I want it to change your life too. But you have to take action. You have to stay consistent, and you need to continually learn and surround yourself with experts like Jeremy, like the people in our community that are absolutely crushing it. So last thing, again, if you guys want to sign up for Syllabi, you want to go on this journey with us, you want to be a content creator, whether you've published a video before, you've been thinking about it, you've never published a single video in your life, join us. This is the perfect time. We have a challenge starting in 5 days. Don't wait, take action on this. Sign up using the code YouTube25 before the end of today, and you're going to save 25% on the first month of any plan, or 25% off an entire annual plan, which is already discounted. That is the cheapest you will ever be able to get Syllabi. Jeremy, thank you so much again, brother. If anyone has any follow-up questions or anything that we didn't have a chance to answer, just tag me. Jeremy's in the Syllabi group as well. Post some comments in there. We'll get you linked up with Jeremy. And I appreciate you all so much.